Well, hello again, everybody, and thank you for watching again today. Again, this is Freedom from Grief as we go to different perspectives and explore what happens after we die. I personally have expressed to you guys that when I lost my mother, it was just really a launching pad for a lot of exploration into the spiritual world. And so we're going to navigate loss through the lens of spirituality. And our guest today is Chris Lippincott, who is very widely renowned for his gifts and the way that he uses spirituality. He even has written a book, Spirits Beside Us, which for me was really, really useful. And so, Chris, I'm going to pass the mic over to you as I ask you to tell us who you are, not just your name, but who you are and how did you first discover these gifts for people who might not know?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. An honor to be, sharing, spirituality with all of your guests. Who I am is I'm, an international medium, best-selling author, and spiritual teacher. And what I do is to really, it's my goal to raise the spiritual awareness and vibration of humanity because there's so many people who are so focused on the material, our physical, that they lose sight of what's beyond us because we're so wrapped up in the way we've been focused our entire lives that they know nothing past, our shell. When in fact, when we can go into it, but we're our being is so much beyond what we are used to, that there's so much beyond us that we're not even touching. We're not even capable of thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you have obviously really jumped all in. What precipitated that? Have you just always known that there was something greater? There's so many people, especially not just in the United States, but like you said, all they think about is what they can see, hear, smell, and touch. How did you get beyond that? You've obviously been doing this for years. How did you move beyond just the
Well,
3D?
it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I've always known spirit is around, but I never really understood what it was. So, for example, like when I was a kid, right, and this is true with most kids, um, I was, talking to the trees, I was talking to the energy, and I'm like, oh yeah, look at all those, make believe friends, and they're, talking back to me, and I should have realized something was different when they could talk back to me, but nobody else could hear them. But I thought it was just me and my creative imagination, right? So I'm just going on and I'm a kid and I'm just having loads of fun. And then I start feeling, there's one example I can remember where I was a kid trying to go to sleep one night. And I remember feeling a hand on my back when I'm lying down on the bed. I don't have any siblings. My parents are at the other end of the room. And I remember feeling a hand on my back. I'm like, oh, here come the monsters. They're coming to take me away from my, back to their lair. I'm like going, no, 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 So, and that kept on happening. And then at one point, I would hear a voice in my room. Again, I thought, oh my God, it's the monsters. They're coming to take me away. No, So, as a kid, I was totally freaking out. And then sometimes I'd feel energy wrapping around me, energy like kind of like an energetic champagne like bubble blanket, right, wrapping around me, and I'd freak out, not knowing what it was. But of course, in the sunlight, everything was fine. Um, and I started realizing there's something going on here, and I'm like, no, no, no. So, and as I'm getting older and older, I start getting more and more material, more logical, more
Mhm.
analytical. I'm like, okay, well, get away from this childhood stuff, go away. So, yeah, after begging them to go away and getting more analytical, eventually it all just kind of like drifted away. And
Mhm.
fast forward probably, about a decade or so, I'm still feeling weird things. I'm still scared of the dark. I'm thinking, oh, I'm a man, I'm an adult who's got, deathly fear of the dark, and he's feeling weird things. Something's wrong. I wind up going to Wall Street where I get totally, deep into, my analysis and numbers and crunching and all that non-spiritual stuff, right? But I start getting going AWOL, like totally stressed out. And so I'm like desperately finding a way to see if there's something I can do to calm me down. So I stumbled onto a meditation. Previously, I was thinking meditation, all that, you got to be up on the Hindu Kush, right? You got to be some special guy, guru to do meditation. I'm like, well, that's not for me. But I stumbled on one that didn't have an agenda. It was really calm, really nice, and I was like, oh, I can try this. So I listened to the audio track, and I started realizing, wow, this is a great track, and I got all addicted to listening to this track every morning before I went to work. So I kept on doing it every day.
Mm.
And I wound up doing it for 12 months straight without realizing exactly what I was doing, other than the fact I was like, wow, this feels really good. At the end of that 12 months, I'm in my man cave because every guy's got to have his man cave, right? Um, and I'm in my meditation, probably doing it now for 30 minutes because I'm so hooked. And all of a sudden, I'm like starting to be taken out of my body. I'm like, what's going on, Toto? We're not in Kansas anymore. And I see these silhouettes of these four people in my mind's eye, two on my left, two on my right. And I felt like I knew them. I don't know why, but I'm seeing these people and I don't know who they are, but I kind of recognize them. And the person all the way on the farthest right was tallest and like all of a sudden sent me like this energy beam straight through my chest, out through my back, and I could feel it physically. And
Mm.
I knew I was not like, I knew I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't dreaming. I could feel the damn thing right in my chest, like, oh my God, what's going on with me? And then all of a sudden it's like I totally shot into like, I don't know, the universe or stars or someplace, because all of a sudden I'm in this ethereal area where I somehow knew I was connected to like this, what I could only compare to like this divine feeling where I somehow knew I was completely and totally loved, and the human word love is only like the 1% of the iceberg. This was the other 99% of love that I don't know,
Mm.
because I couldn't even put a description on it other than I knew I was somehow perfect. In fact, that was the what was coming through to me. It's like, you are perfect. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, dude, there's no way I'm perfect. You don't know what I've done in my life. I can't be perfect. But it just kept on coming. You're perfect. You're unconditionally loved. And I suddenly started to feel that I was part of this thread of love that extended in every direction. There was no beginning, no end. And I was part of this thread that was everywhere, kind of like a tapestry. And the tapestry was infinite. And I was involved in it somehow. And then eventually I kind of came back and I'm like, holy smokes, what was that? And I had to like eventually kind of come back to reality. And I ran to my desk, started writing it. And that's kind of when I realized that the portal had reopened because I started hearing voices. I started getting those energetic bubbles again. I started getting the feeling of presences again. And it was much more intense. So then I started learning about it, learning about mediumship, learning about spirituality, and it just kind of like took off from there.
So wait a minute. So I have two questions. The first question is, you're working as an analyst, you're in the business world, which I'm very familiar with because that's where I come from. You and I have very similar stories. You're in the business world. You start diving into this stuff. At what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to leave this Wall Street analytical job behind? At what point did you transition? And then we're going to get back into the grief piece, but I have to know.
Yeah, it was a because it was kind of like oil and water, right? Because
Yeah,
you can't be on Wall Street and be involved with spirituality at the same time. They're
exactly.
two different worlds.
Exactly.
So what in the very beginning, the thing that really got me was I asked that very question. I'm sitting, one day I'm sitting in my my chair, and I kind of look up in the space. I don't know why I looked up, but I started looking up and I said, "Guys, why me? I'm just a regular guy. Why me?" And before I could finish the question, the answer came back, "Because you're a regular guy." And I thought, and
Yes.
I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. And the concept being that they wanted to use me, a regular guy, somebody that, everybody can understand, so that I could get their message out to them because I'm easily identifiable.
Yes, and you are very relatable, and that is so
Exactly. That's the
important.
word.
Yes,
And
you're so relatable. But here's the thing: going back to when you were a kid, and you reemerge into that metaphysical space later as an adult. But there are a lot of people, since you and I come from a regular world, who are scared. They are really, really terrified of the things that you're saying. And as a kid, you said you felt a hand on your back. What would you say to people who are like, you know what, I really want to kind of utilize the information that Chris is talking about right now, that Shannon's trying to bring forth, but I'm literally afraid. I've gone to church all my life. They have told me this is a complete no-no, but I want to feel better. So what do you say to people who are scared?
yeah, well, that happens to a lot of people, and that's kind of where the dividing line, appears. For example, it's either cultural or religious or or belief systems
Mm-hmm.
that creates this dividing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you'll hear, oh, for example, either spiritual people or mediums or whatever it is, they'll say, oh, it's been in my family for years. Why has it been in their family for years? Is it DNA or is it something different? And have always said it's not necessarily DNA because we've all got it. It's more a question of acceptance. Has the family been accepting it for generations? Have they been talking about it like it's a regular thing, for generations? It's like saying, oh, yeah, I can jump over that refrigerator every single day. And everybody goes, oh, okay, sure, I can accept that. As opposed to the person who says, oh, I can't do that. And so everybody believes, I can't do that. If you believe it, then
Or if I do it, I'm going to get in trouble with God.
right. But then again, that goes to the belief system. Maybe it's a church, maybe it's a culture, whatever it is. If all of a sudden, your grandparents said no, you shouldn't do it, then your parents say no, you shouldn't do it, and your church says no, you shouldn't do it, then guess what? You're like, well, I guess I shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes your background. If all of a sudden you start realizing it's not so much a set yes or no, it's a question of what's inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get into the quantum physics of it, which we can if you want, we're all energy.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that segue. Yes, this is mathematical. This is scientific. We are
And that
all
was yeah,
energy.
exactly. That was actually the thing that enabled me to go from the analytical mindset. It's to span that with that bridge to get into the spiritual mindset because I was going at it from an analytical perspective. I'm like, well, I have to understand this. I have to know this. I have to reason with this. So
Mm-hmm.
then I went at it from the quantum physics perspective, and all of a sudden it's kind of like it explained it. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. Then I could accept it. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And the quantum physics of it is that we are all energy. Everything in existence is energy. 99% of everything is empty space. And only 1% of it actually has any kind of matter whatsoever. If you were to take, for example, the carbon atom, and you were to look at the nucleus of the nucleus of the carbon atom, if you were to blow that up to the size of a golf ball, its electron would be 2 miles away. Everything else would be empty space.
Yes.
That is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with 99% empty space, and that's energy. So you were to look at your hand, you were to touch it, you're not really touching your hand. It's the electrons will be barely touching. It's like two magnets. Two magnets can never touch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the charge. They repel each other. It's electron repulsion. And so we think we're touching our hand, but there's a subatomic space between our what we're touching. So it's like our perception.
Mm-hmm.
Our human perception in the physical is not true reality. When you
Break it
get to
down.
when you get down to the quantum physics of it, it's a totally different reality.
Do you not love the saying, life is but a dream?
Yeah, exactly, totally.
Thank you for at least covering the fundamentals. I really just so wanted to have you on because you can transport our listeners from the fundamentals. This is why this is true, to something that might seem more abstract and unbelievable, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump right into what is the usefulness, you think, of grief? Since the show is about grief, you were able to get there using your meditation. I personally believe that grief can kind of force you into that surrender space, but I want you to talk about what is the usefulness of grief for individuals to get closer to the God of their understanding.
Yeah, that's a great question. Grief is important because it totally shifts your reality. It forces you to examine your truth, your reality, your existence in the present and in elsewhere, because we're going along every day and we're just kind of not confronting the reality. We're going along and we're saying, okay, well, everything I see must be true. Everything I see must be reality. That's my reality. Then all of a sudden, something gets ripped from you. Your former reality is no longer there, and you're forced to confront something that couldn't possibly have existed moments ago. And
Mhm.
you're just completely stricken, and you're like, how can this possibly be happening? And you know that the person that you're now grieving over is no longer there, and you're like, what happened? And your mind starts to open, because you start to contemplate what happened to the person, where they go, what's it like now, why am I the person who has to deal with this? You come up with 1,000 questions. That's where your journey begins. That's where you begin to explore everything else that you never possibly even thought about previously. So it's a journey of exploration is the purpose of grief.
Wow. I love that. Grief is actually, the way that you put it, the first sentence that comes to my mind is grief is actually special.
In
It's
a way.
actually a special invitation from the universe, from our great, whoever created us, whatever created us. It's an invitation to go
Hmm.
deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you feel that you could comfortably offer your clients suggestions? Where did they go? That was the first question that I asked. Where is my mother? I know she's not just in the ground. So what do you offer your clients who are seeking you out um, because they want to know? Now, once
Right.
you have a reading with them, I'm assuming they're going to formulate their own opinions. But just for people who may not be able to get on your busy calendar, what would you suggest to them is where, if
Yeah.
not what, their loved ones are now?
Well, it's very easy. Going back to that quantum physics discussion we
Okay.
had before.
Okay.
Since we're energy,
Yeah.
we don't change.
Mm.
Think about it this, because you can deal with a whole bunch of quantum physics laws, which I won't get into, but it
Mhm.
goes everything from the Copenhagen principle on, and from that we could go there for days. And the
Mhm.
concept is that, and this is a basic thing, goes back to Einstein. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed; it can only change form.
And we all
Basic.
believe in Einstein.
Yeah, we all knew his right. I mean, this is a law that's been around for 100 years. Energy can
Love
neither
it.
be created nor destroyed; it can only change
Mhm.
form. So, what
Right.
happens to the energy that we are in the physical? That
Mhm.
physical energy, which is a low vibration energy, then shifts. It has a morphing effect. It goes into a high vibration existence. So, this shell of a body, which exists in a low vibration state, which I'll refer to as kind of, well, I can get into the ice cube and describe how that all works pretty basically.
I'd like
That
that.
energy shifts into a high vibration state that is no longer in the material, it goes into the non-material state. And the existence remains the same. It's just you no longer can see them. And I'll use the example of the ice cube. Ice cube, same principle. Ice
Mhm.
cube is in the physical, but you look at the molecular structure, the vibration of those molecules really low, really slow. They're barely moving. It's the vibration is so slow, okay? Heat up the ice cube, the molecules start to speed up. The vibration starts to increase. What happens to the ice cube? Turns into water. You're starting to see the states are changing. States are changing. You heat up that water so it starts to boil. Vibration goes up. Molecules speed up even faster. So then all of a sudden it goes to gas. Heat it up even more, it goes to plasma. Expand it even more, it goes into the non-physical. Within each state, the
Mhm.
vibration keeps on rising. You started at a very low state where the vibration was basically almost zero
Right.
in the physical to an extremely high vibration state where it's no longer physical, and you've changed all the different states. That's what we are, just like that ice cube.
Amazing. And it's so, I like that one because we can physically see the water boiling. We know what that means. And I like that because I want people to understand what we mean when we say high vibration. I mean, that's kind of cliche now, my vibration, your low vibe. But I want people to understand that in our human bodies, we are slower. And so, can you just talk a little bit about how people can connect with their loved ones by raising their vibration? I've read about that. I actually understand it, but for the audience, I want them to understand what is meant when we say that, raising your vibration, and how that's more than just a cliche. It
Yeah.
actually can be a way for.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody can connect with spirit, and that's not cliche either, because all of our senses, all of our non-physical senses, are actually in our hind brain, the brain stem, which is at the top of our spine. We
Mhm.
used to use those before, modern man, before our frontal lobe and our main mass of matter grew. We used to rely on this brain part, and animals still do.
Mhm.
They still rely on this part. So that's what we're all able to connect with. So the question is, how do you use them? They're lying dormant beneath the surface. When you begin to work with them and activate them, then we get to work with them. Say, for example, our gut. Everyone says, "Oh, I've got a gut instinct," right? That's your clairsentience. Everybody uses it, but they don't really think about it. So we all obviously have it, but we're just not aware of it. You can start to get all kinds of things. And so, how do you get in contact with your loved ones? Is one of the best ways you can start to do that is by meditating, because by meditating, you've got to take your mind away from the physical and allow your brain to kind of shut itself off from the ego state and go into an altered state of reality, which is basically the right hemisphere of your brain dealing with the creative side, as opposed to the left side of your brain, which is your analytical ego side. If you temporarily push that to the side, you open up your creative side, and you then allow
Mhm.
yourself to be connecting to that which is without.
Right. Okay. So I like that because basically it sounds like what you're saying is everybody has that capacity. We have two sides of our brain for a reason. It's just that we just need to, people can just nurture it if they want to connect themselves. And so I think I kind of jumped over the second part of the question that I asked before, which is where are they?
Where are they? Well, they are in a state that is a non-physical state that no longer has the restrictions of the physical. So many times when spirit comes through, they explain it in a way as a saying of, "Oh, this feels so much better. I have woken up from a terrible dream."
Wow.
Because they're just kind of like, when you wake up, and you're just like, "Oh God, that was a bad dream." You put your feet in the ground. You're like, "Oh, whoa, whew, that was bad. Now I'm back." Right? That's what they tell us. Only it's 10 billion times more. They're like, "Wow, I just woke up from a bad dream." Because we in the physical, we got to go through a whole bunch of garbage. Nobody really wants to not to be dealing with it because we got to do it all the time. And they're like, "Oh man, this is so much better. I don't have to deal with that crap."
So, okay. So they're around, just not in a physical body.
They are sharing our space, literally. It's because remember, all it is a different dimension. We can't see them with the physical
You
eyes
just
or
can't
the
perceive
physical
it.
ears, but they're still sharing our space. It's just a different sensation. Can we see ultraviolet light with our physical eyes? No. Does it mean it's not there? Of course not. Can we
Yeah.
see gravity? No, but we sure know it's there. Thank God.
Yeah, it's like having a toothache. You might not be able to see it, but you can sure as
But
heck
you know it's
feel it.
there.
You know it's there. Right. Okay. So if this is going to segue to my next question, which I'm sure some people may want to know. Do you think there's a hell
No,
or a
no.
okay?
The way that spirit has come through many times over the last probably 150, 200 years, and even readings that I've had, they describe it as the way that each person who goes into their specified plane
Hmm.
as to, because there are 7 acknowledged planes within the spirit level before you get to what's referred to as the celestial planes, which go even farther beyond that. But that's a topic for another day. The concept is that you reside in whichever plane you maintain your vibration. So let's say, so the higher your vibration, the higher plane you have. And you've probably, which actually aligns perfectly with what church doctrine has been saying for thousands of years. All religions, they're saying where you go, what you do determines where you go. The
Mm.
question is why? The reason is it's your vibration. If you raise your vibration, then you are magnetically and energetically attracted to the vibration of that plane. So let's just use pretend numbers for a second. Let's say plane number 2 has 200 gobbledygook, right? And plane number 3 has 300 gobbledygook, right? If
Hmm.
you raise your vibration to 300 gobbledygook, you're going to magnetically be attracted to level 3. The person who only gets themselves to level 2 will only be attracted to level 2 because they've only got 200 gobbledygook, if that makes any sense.
So the science continues even after
It's
the
energy.
loss of our physical bodies.
It's
And so
energy.
if that's true, and I've never heard that explanation before, I'm in love with this conversation, then heaven would theoretically be to someone who believed in heaven and hell a higher vibrational place.
It's the highest vibration you
It's
can be
the
in.
highest
So,
vibration.
and much of it is it's what you do, how you think, and what
Mhm.
you do to other people. Because what
Mm.
you energetically, again, it's the boomerang effect. What you do to others is exactly what you do to yourself. Because going back to the quantum physics aspect, the person that you see in front of you is nothing but a reflection of you, because there is no such thing as anybody else. We're all the same. It's just literally a quantum replica of you.
This conversation is so good.
It's taken a weird turn, I know.
No, no, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm like, wow. Hopefully everybody's following along. Hopefully everybody's following
We may
along.
have gone off the deep end. I,
No,
I don't know.
this is totally intriguing. No, because literally when people are going through loss, they're having lots and lots of questions. And so, hey, we're not leaving any stone unturned, even though we just have a short amount of time. So, gosh, I guess I might have to put a period there, but I did have one more question, and that is, what do you think about guardian angels? Because a lot of people, this is just mainstream thinking, believe that when someone passes away, now they have a guardian angel. What do you think about that idea?
Well, guardian angels are very similar in concept to spirit guides. So it's just a different name.
Mhm,
We all have spirit guides.
mhm.
And some people, depending on their religious beliefs, refer to it more as a guardian angel. Same concept, different name.
Mhm.
Um, and when a person actually transitions, that person transitions just as another member of their spirit team. It's not necessarily a guardian angel. It's not necessarily a person who is a spirit guide, because a spirit guide is a spirit entity who is highly evolved and has
Mm.
gone through specific training to help that person on their journey, on their path. And they've actually been with that person over multiple lifetimes, which
Wow.
means that the person you just lost cannot be your spirit guide.
Wow. Thank you for explaining that. Chris, how can people find you? How
Yeah,
can they just get a taste of your knowledge if they want to go deeper?
sure. They can take a look at my website, which is www.montclairmedium.com,
Mm.
or they can email me at chris@montclairmedium.com. Those are probably the two easiest ways you can find me. Also over,
Okay.
YouTube and Facebook, and all that's on the website.
Yes, he's everywhere. Um, do you have a free gift for the audience just so they can just tap into a little bit of what we're talking about today?
Yeah, one of the things that I do every day is I sit in the power. And sitting in the power is essentially enabling you to recharge your spiritual batteries, because that's how you connect, is
Mm.
getting that spiritual energy. And this meditation is something that helps you get out of your physical body, get out into the universe, and begin to connect with spirit, the spirit world, the spirit realm, and ultimately rise up and then begin to connect with the divine. And you begin to feel all of that spiritual energy coming from the divine, from the spirit world, enwrapping you, and you begin to feel that you are enveloped and held by light and held by love,
Mm.
and you immediately feel your energy expanding.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for offering that because I think not for nothing, it will help people not stay in the pain of the loss so much. I love what you said about how grief is so useful. And so that gift is definitely going to impact people, but also hopefully launch them into more exploration into what
Oh
we're
yeah,
talking about
oh
today.
yeah,
So
it will.
anyway, well, thank you very much. Thank you
Well,
for coming
thank you.
on
It's been
today. Chris Lippincott, check him out on YouTube and on his website, Montclair Medium. He's awesome. I hope you all think so too. And I thank you so much for coming on.
my pleasure. It was wonderful being here, and great talking about all these topics. I could be here all day.
Absolutely. Chris Lippincott, everybody.